I lost my innocence there. You're 18, 19, 20 years old, you don't know life yet, and here you are experiencing war. And I call my dad. And I say, Dad, you guys are gonna see some things on the news. It's gonna say that a car bomb hit this camp. Just tell Mom that it had nothing to do with me, it had nothing to do with here, it's a different unit. But Dad, like, I was there, it sucked. Like, I don't wanna be here anymore. And I could hear his voice crack. And I'm like, just don't tell Mom like it was here, man, like fuck. And then I kind of like caught myself like kind of shedding a tear and kind of trying to wipe it off so nobody else could see me in there. You know, trying to play tough guy. And then just back at it again, right? Back at it for another round. Oh man, I've seen too much. I've seen too much. I gotta get help when I get back. What does this mean? Right, am I gonna be screwed up? Like, what does this mean? And I remember that shocked me, like, this is a sergeant first class, like, saying that, like, I'm asleep. They wake me up. Hey, wake up, get dressed, get your shit on. We just got incoming. I found that to be weird because I didn't even hear the incoming, not even one round or anything like that. So we start getting dressed, putting on our Kevlar flak jacket, and we were gonna go to the point of origin, the pool.
To the chow hall, sir! He's almost on the side too. Oh, yeah. Get in the back. I thought you about to blow it up. I want to go to the chow hall, sir! Yep. Let's go, let's go!
We're out on patrol, MSR Tampa. MSR Tampa is a main route that goes from Kuwait all the way up to northern Iraq, main supply route.
Just over here, left, stop.
This was January. So as I pull up, of course I'm scared. They would do secondary IEDs, secondary V-bids, secondary ambushes. Like these insurgents had caught on. Like, hey, let's hit them with something. Then when they're out there snooping around, let's hit them again. I didn't want to get out of the Humvee because all I could see was pieces of meat, pieces of charred meat all over the floor. It was like gravel. It was like, for like a 50-meter radius, there was just pieces, chunks everywhere, chunks of people. And I didn't want to get out. To me, that felt like a nightmare. It felt like an actual nightmare that was true, that was in real life, and I couldn't wake up from it. And I didn't want to get out of the Humvee. I just figured I don't want to get my boots dirty. I don't want to get involved in this. But I'm a grunt. It's like, I got to do this shit. Like, then Sergeant Dean's like, hey, get the fuck out and start picking pieces up. But like I said, we were 18, 19, I turned 20 there. That's a kid, man. That's a freaking kid faced with war. Most people's concept or grasp of war is from a movie, a film, Hollywood, right? When you're there, you smell the smells, you hear the sounds, you see the blood, the brains, the guts, the chunks of pieces of meat, you know, shit becomes fucking real. You can see the crater where the SUV blew itself up. There was a charred upper torso, like this, sticking out of the ground. There was no face. It was a hole where the face is supposed to be. The whole thing's charred. And the other Iraqis, there was another bus load full of their friends, the Iraqi National Guards that had just pulled up, and they were already starting to pick up the pieces. They pick up this torso and they move it like this, and I just saw all kinds of red slush come out into the ground, and I'm like, oh shit. And since it was cold outside, everything is just steaming. All the pieces are just steaming. Here we are picking up pieces of meat, Kevlar's helmets that were exploded this way. You had boots with feet still in it. You had gloves, you had parts, pieces, body, brain, guts, blood, everywhere. You had Iraqis crying, screaming, shooting their AKs in the sky. It was pure chaos. Iraqi National Guard pulling cars over, pulling civilians out and beating the shit out of them just because they were taking out their anger. And it just began just getting pieces and putting them in the back of a truck, getting pieces. There was not one complete person. There was not one full body. There was not that. It was just carnage. There I am at my house in Brawley with all my friends, man. I got a freaking lump in my throat, dude. Like, oh, I don't want to cry, and I just leave walking. My sister's bawling, my mom is bawling, my friends are looking at me like, oh, look at this kid, right? So being that I was 17, I had to have my parents' permission slip, right? I had them sign the waiver, so I was underage, and my parents kept trying to talk me out of it. Dad kept telling me, Hector, go to college. Well, I'll pay for your college. He was almost pleading. I'll pay for your college. I'm like, hey, Dad, why would I go to college when I freaking hate high school? And he's like, you know, maybe they saw how much I wanted it, how much I needed it. And yeah, ultimately they signed the waiver. My sister, who's 3 years younger than me and has been my biggest cheerleader from the start, was all on board. The recruiter takes me away. Boom, San Diego. Padre Trail Inn. That was this little hotel in Old Town that they would take you there the night before you ship out. And I remember, dude, like I used that. There was a payphone at a Mexican restaurant outside, and I called my girlfriend at the time, and that's when I felt it. I had hickeys on my neck. I had a shaved head. I go and I have somebody buy me some cigarettes because I'm not old enough, but I did smoke at that time, and it's like that was your boy right there, like fucking young and dumb, dude, just fucking ready to take on the world, so I thought. The bayonet, the 25-mile road march, that was the last test. So you're out in the field for a week, you're doing these little tasks and trainings and challenges and obstacles, and then you finish it off with a 25-mile road march in like 24 hours with your rucksack, your weapon. Yeah, your feet are hurting afterwards, your back's hurting, and this is what I recall. It was nighttime. There was torches on the side. There was signs. It said World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, Gulf War at each torch. And then there was a blank sign at the last torch. And our drill sergeant said, you see that? That's your guys' war. You guys are gonna be there shortly. Fucking made it. Like, damn, all this training, all this like hard work, dedication that I put into this shit. Like, I'm a fucking foot soldier. I'm a fucking grunt. Tip of the fucking spear. Like, when America goes to war, we're it. We're gonna keep the fucking wolf away from the door. It was one thing for me to go from San Diego to Fort Benning. That was sad, right? Homesick. When I went to Germany, oh my goodness, man. My dad, the look on my dad's face, it was like he was devastated, bro. And it's like their little son, man, is gone, right? Overseas. I was 18 and Iraq was brewing, to say the least. That made me feel like, oh my God, what have I done? As a matter of fact, when I touched down in Germany, December 8, 2002, you find out what unit you're going to, and then you go, they bust us into a classroom on Leadward Barracks in Schweinfurt, Germany. And the soldier up there said, if you guys are going to 118 Infantry or 126 Infantry, you're going to Iraq. And everybody just put their head down. Like, oh, this is real. Like, yeah, this is what we were begging for. But to actually hear him say, hey, it's go time, like you're gonna be going, was like, fuck, right? Again, the human emotions, you're gonna be, it's the fear of the unknown. How am I gonna react? Am I gonna perform as expected? I hope I don't let my brothers down, right? Because to let your brothers down would mean lives are gonna get lost.
Tag, meine Damen und Herren. Das Zugpersonal begrüßt Sie. Regional Express 20.79 auf der Fahrt von Frankfurt Main Hauptbahnhof nach Nürnberg. Über Frankfurt Süd, Offenbach, Hanau, Aschaffenburg, Lohr, Gemünd.
My friend Jeffrey King from Philadelphia. Hillside of the room, Texas. Flag. Nonsense. And Al Pacino. California, of course.
Hill.
There's my roommate Hill, Richard, from Texas. Oh yeah, catch what Saddam was saying today. Pretty cool. We got Big G, Michael Garcia from Arizona, Brandon Winkle from Chicago,
Shot-time.
Maldonado Alex from Puerto Rico.
Stay on, bro.
What up? Corporal Luga.
Specialist Garcia over here.
A Cruz from Cali. Josh Soto from Cali. Clayton Weeks from Texas. Make sure I got everything ready for Iraq. Barely started, but there's all my DCUs, and it is snowing outside. Or it started to snow.
Hey, Barrett, I'm gonna kick your ass, man. Kick your ass.
It's classic. Good shit. Oh, Richard! Yeah! Oh, Richard! Benny Hill!
Maldo, what are we doing right now?
I guess we are pulling guard. I'm not really sure.
On top of a roof.
Top of the roof.
And there's a view of what we're pulling guard.
Tiger 2 November is truck 8.
Pretty weak. And right beside us, we have a Haji neighborhood. One fuck is there a neighborhood in the middle of the fucking FOB? We don't know.
Roger, call the CMOC, let them know. I don't have no more gas here.
But this is what we do for 4 hours. For 24 hours. 4 hours on, 4 hours off. Sit and pull guard.
Front gate, Tiger Indian November.
Fun times.
Oh, it's fun.
Roger, tell them they get no gas today.
So when we get to FOB Paliwoda, 4th Infantry Division, the guys from 4th ID were there. These guys were salty, uniforms looking like shit, tattered, fucking sunburned. These guys had been in country for like 15 months, right? They did the invasion, and then they hung around a little longer than they anticipated. They were ready to go home, right? We showed up all fresh, 1st Infantry Division, Big Red 1. So we had to do those left seat, right seat rides where we would go out on patrol with them. They would show us the surrounding area. And the first patrol that I went out with him, I remember there was, he was like an E6 staff sergeant. He looked like the lead singer from New Found Glory. And he's like, hey, just be aware that when you shoot these guys with your M16, the bullets are gonna go right through them, right? The velocity's so fast when you're inside the house. And I'm like, the hell? And yeah, these guys had been fucking killing people. And I remember like looking at this guy like he was a god, right? Like a fucking all-thing Grunt god. Because I'm like, damn, this motherfucker's doing it. And he's telling us like, hey, you're gonna have to shoot these dudes 4 or 5 fucking times to put them down. And I was like, all right. So that was kind of the introduction to like what we're getting ourselves into. I mean, I shot a dude one time, like I mentioned, he was like at 250, 300 meters, and he still kept running. He still kept running. And you want to talk about not being like the movies. In the movies, you shoot somebody and they fucking fall over dead, right? Unless you hit a dude in the head, which we're taught to shoot center mass. It's very discouraging to shoot at people or shoot people and have them continuously fight, because some of them are hyped up on adrenaline, actual adrenaline, and or meth. We were finding vials, we were finding syringes where these dudes were getting hyped up on fucking dope. And then in 2004, you had a lot of foreign fighters. You had Jordanians coming to Iraq to fucking fight. You had Syrians. You had like people from Africa coming. No doubt, people from Afghanistan. Like that was like a holy war to them. Like, hey, you want to come fuck up some Americans? Come here. So yeah, we were finding Chechens, different shit, different documents, different passports. Living on a FOB, we were on FOB Paliwoda, Forward Operating Base Paliwoda. The reason it got named that was a month prior to us arriving, it was called FOB Eagle. But there was a captain by the name of Paliwoda, I believe he was in the 4th Infantry Division. He was killed by indirect fire, I think rockets. So therefore they named it after him. So I want you to think of like a small area where you can pretty much, you know, everybody that's on the FOB, not too far of a walking distance, and you have your living quarters. This happened to be a former Iraqi base that the Americans had taken over.
This is our friend Zimmerman. He can sleep through anything. Watch this alarm go off. He won't even wake up. Watch this. See you.
So in 2004, Operation Iraqi Freedom 2, that was the beginning of the insurgency. Up-armored anything was very slim to none, irrelevant. You know, I remember in Kuwait being on a detail of filling up 7,000 sandbags in 24 hours, and that sucked, bro. And they were gonna use the sandbags for the floorboards of the Humvees as armor. And what a routine patrol would look like would be 4 vehicles going out every time. One would be an up-armored Humvee. The other one was a freaking supply Humvee that I drove, Bravo 24, and that was an IED magnet. I think that thing ended up getting hit directly, probably by like 12, 13 IEDs, where my sergeant built stencils, and we were putting stencils. I even got a picture of it. After every time it got hit, like we'd just bring it back and just shh. Yeah, the windows would be blown out, the tires would be fucking flat. M113, an armored personnel carrier, like Vietnam era, a track vehicle. And then I think the other one was another up-armored Humvee. Our biggest weapon system was the 240 Bravo, 7.62. So we would go out into sector, patrol. I was in Balad, very agricultural. It was like living out in the country, villages. Dirt roads, canal roads, grapevines, orchards.
Yeah, I took a picture of you already, man.
When I deployed to Iraq, they pulled our platoon, 2nd platoon, and attached us to a unit of tankers. So they kind of did some Mickey Mouse Frankenstein unit with 1 platoon of infantry, which was us, 1 platoon of combat engineers, 1 platoon of tankers, and a National Guard platoon from New York. It's safe to say that they used and abused us and the engineers, to do all the grunt work, basically. Patrol, convoys, raids, guarding POWs, guarding on the FOB, the towers, the front gate. Man, route clearance, QRF, Quick Reaction Force. We were busy 24/7, 365.
We had just discovered an IED, improvised explosive device, ahead of checkpoint 10. We're here with Jared Hinks. Take it away.
That's right, Farrell. Here in Balad, Iraq, on Route Linda, where two Hajis, excuse me, indigenous personnel,
Iraqi members,
Iraqis, came to the front gate while we were leaving and told us they knew where a bomb was.
Back for a raid, caught us some fucking prisoners. Huh? No, I got myself. That's little Nathan Mays after a raid. We'll start off with a cousin Doc.
Primo Nakla, I saw some action today.
Edgar.
No shots fired.
Our medic.
It's a goddamn shame.
The newest member of the fucking family is fucking straight out of basic. Squirrely as fuck. Yeah, brand new BDUs.
Scrollish as fuck.
Cherry. We got a cherry pop today. Then we got Apa.
So the movie Platoon, where Charlie Sheen is writing a letter to, I believe it's his grandma. He's talking about his platoon mates and where they're from in little small cities. And to me, it was exactly like that, man. You got Garcia from Miami, Arizona, right? You got Hinks from Duluth, Minnesota. You got Hill from Amarillo, Texas. You know, Winkle from Chicago. You just got everywhere from all these places, bro. And it's just like fucking put us all together, become brothers.
He's good.
Like fucking dog.
Man, the guy in yellow's losing, dude.
What are you throwing, man? What are you eating? Good?
Yeah.
Dude, give me an airway. Fuck that. Fuck, come on in right here. You're fucking sergeant. Bastard.
What the?
You're a bastard. I wanted to fuck it. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'll go there and beat the shit out of those kids for it.
Here in Balad, Iraq, on top of what we would call a mansion. Probably the only one in Balad right now. As you can see behind me, this man has a beautiful view of the landscape around. Lots of green, because it is nearing winter time. Around this area, the Insurgents, aka Ferayin, like to plant IEDs, improvised explosive devices, where, at one point in time, this young man here, Nathan Mays, 19 years old, straight out of high school, got blown up right over there by a roadside bomb. Kind of where near that white car is.
Why would that man say he went up right now?
Hold on, folks. Let me take care of this. And that's pretty much it. It's a Dan Withers thing. Dan Withers saying, choose.
If it was during the day, it would be kind of like a presence. Like you go to a village, you go to a house, and then they tell you to come in, offer you chai, which is like hot tea. Meanwhile, we're pulling security up on the rooftop. We're taking a look around. You know, you ask them, you got a silah? Silah? Silah is weapon in Arabic. Silah? no sila, mister. That's what they would say, right? So we're still looking around. We fucking find an AK-47 and we're like, sila! Like, one sila. It's like, hey, these motherfuckers, right? It just agitates you like, hey. So the rule was they were allowed to have one AK-47 per household for thieves or whatever. Alibaba is what they call them. Alibaba, mister. So there's a lot of interacting with the Iraqi nationals. You got the kids, right? So you learn things like Genta is trunk. You know, you're doing traffic control checkpoints where you're stopping vehicles and searching them for insurgents, contraband weapons and stuff like that. And Genta, open Genta.
Genta! Genta! Okay. Open Genta! Genta!
Stop.
Genta!
Yes. لا مو تصوير عنده. يصير مشرفين. I want to marry the women Americans and live in America because I studied in Iraq. I want to go in America because there is not the fiki in Iraq and America is free. Okay.
And half the platoon would go out on patrol. The other half of the platoon would stay back doing weapons maintenance, vehicle maintenance, like I said, guard duty. If you had time to go to the internet cafe, back then, 2004, the internet cafe was a little office or a little building, a little room, and there was probably about 4 computers hooked up to like old school internet, and then you were able to send old school emails out, use the telephones make sure you had a calling card. It was never a dull moment considering that we would get indirect fire daily, for sure daily. Some of it accurate, some of it not. You know, the rounds would hit outside, inside the wire. We also had our outgoing, which was our 120 millimeters, 11 Charlie mortarmen. They had their mortar pit set up right outside of our building, barracks, so it was freaking loud, like boom! Constant. So we got to distinguish between incoming and outgoing fire. It's like there's certain distinctive sounds to it. And right after we would receive incoming from the enemy, the insurgents, our outgoing would run out to the mortar pits and start fucking firing back. So there would be like battles sometimes of just ingoing and outgoing. It's extremely fucking loud, but you get used to it after a while.
Zimmerman! Yeah. Zimmerman! No, yeah, loud.
Real loud?
Yeah.
Real loud?
Zimmerman!
Bro, what? This is what a really good friend of mine shot off in here, accidentally. Almost got me killed. Almost got the whole platoon killed.
Zimmerman!
I think that's true.
Hey, your alarm went off.
Please stay asleep.
You feel the concussion, for sure you feel the concussion, the wave through your like chest, like poof. Depending on how close you are to it, especially incoming, damn dude. I remember we got caught, me, Maze, Garcia, and Dino, our sergeant, were walking to the internet cafe. And in between us and there was a Bradley from 126 Infantry that the grunts there were working on. And as we're walking, we hear like, so right away we look, and it's like, fuck. My best man, Garcia, he's like, hey, don't worry, that's outgoing. And we looked, there was nothing outgoing about that. There was no paladin there, which we had paladins, 155 artillery, and definitely no our mortar guys there. So it was incoming. It's like, oh shit, run, motherfucker, run. That's what the 126 guys yelled to us. They get up, they scatter. And I kid you not, dude, we're running, and it just started dropping on us like rain, dude.
All right. PC Maze is about to describe a rocket attack we went through a while back.
About the rockets, I don't like to talk about it much because it's just traumatizing. But anyways, we're walking towards the internet, towards the talk battalion, and as soon as we got to about Charlie Rock area, their maintenance bay, we heard an explosion to our right.
And Garcia said, outgoing.
Yeah.
I said, no, rockets.
Yeah, Garcia says paladin.
Like, there's no paladin.
Yeah, I was like, wait, there's not a paladin there. Then I hear the Charlie Rock maintenance crew, go motherfucker, run!
Fucking run!
So, what do?
We ran.
We fucking ran.
Was there a bunker? No.
No, there wasn't. So we had to run for about 150 meters before we found a little overhead cover. Bootsy ass Haji concrete barriers. Wouldn't have stopped anything. But we survived it, luckily. Even though they were coming in on us like fucking rain.
The rounds would never stop.
And then on the run back we left you.
We sort of left our team leader in the dust because he's not up to par with our PT said.
You know, if you're not ready to run, you shouldn't be allowed to have fun. Go to the internet. Simple fact.
Cool.
That's all I got to say about that.
Thanks. Plexus Sparrow. You alright, man?
No comment. It was scary.
Alright. I'll let you be, man.
Huh?
So I'll let you be.
Please. Let me gather my thoughts.
I know it hurts.
Let me contemplate what could have happened.
Because you could hear the rockets. It's like, especially how close they are. And the only thing we found was those concrete walls that you'll see around the green zone in Baghdad. They put around perimeters of bases. Those concrete walls, but they were stacked on top of each other. They were in a laying down position. And like 4 of us managed to just cram into a little hole. And dude, it was like, so you can smell the black smoke, the gunpowder, the dust. Could hear the whizzing of the rounds, definitely the explosions. And we just started laughing, dude. We just started laughing because there's nothing you can do. You get to a point, man. You get to a point where you know there's nothing you can do. You might as well have a good time with it. Because honestly, what difference is it going to make? Would you rather scare yourself to death or just go out, kind of like go out happy with it? It stopped after a while. We all picked up when it seemed like a good time, like a lull in the fire to go back. And we went back, and my boy Hinks from Minnesota was like, damn, bro, did you guys get caught in that? We're like, yeah, dude, right in the middle. Was it scary? 100%, absolutely. But my dad had given me some type of religious medallion prior to deploying, which was random. And I remember just clutching that thing when the rounds were landing all around us.
We're here in Balad, Iraq, again, where I guess a drive-by happened on this fucking car here. And, killed the driver, definitely, because his brains are hanging on his shoulder. And I guess some other people were in the back that got shot up, taken to the hospital. I guess this is these people's relatives or whatever, and they're not too happy right now. I guess it was a tribal war between 2 tribes or some shit like that. Well, anyways, just another day here in Balad. We're almost out of here. More brains for you.
Oh, I gotta go down there.
Let's go down there with a camera. Sausage.
All right. here's High Speed, 2nd Squad.
Nice SAD.
In the middle of what we would call a battle, I guess.
Bullshit battle.
Clear?
Yeah.
How clear?
There you go, bro. That easy.
Took a hit on the gun.
What's going on? We are in downtown Paliwoda on a regular patrol. Usually a civil parish patrol. On a gun, as usual.
Oh, that dirty fucking kid. And his brother. Alright, there's mother. Oh, don't mind the bullet hole in the glass. Yep. Hard at work. Oh, go the helicopter.
They did it record? That's fucked up, dude. That was my best one too, man. That was all like this, dude.
Another one.
It's something, dick.
We're at Paliwoda right now, downtown.
We're not in downtown Paliwoda right now. You're fucking stupid.
Huh?
How dangerous is the mission today?
Not dangerous.
Fucking Dak. Very dangerous. Dangerous mission today.
That skrilla on the gun, on the gimbal.
Always talking that shit.
My foot hurts really bad.
We're gonna escort these fags to the hospital.
Go.
Show the fags.
Show the fags, dude.
Show the non-combatant motherfuckers.
Zoom in.
I don't know how.
I'm Luga. Fuck up, asshole.
Hey.
Fucking kill you. This is how we do it in the Humvees. Smoking Newports and shit. Not giving a fuck. I ain't dismounted for nothing, because my foot's all fucked up. I'm here for the hell of it, for shits and fucking giggles. You're gonna put that on fucking documentary when I make it. This is how we lived in Iraq.
I guess, damn, I never really thought of this, but I guess the first time that I fired my weapon in combat was April 15th, 2004. I was taking a shit in the latrines. It was like a trailer, like the ones you see at a concert. And we started getting incoming. It's like rockets or mortars. I remember thinking like, damn, I'm gonna die on the shitter, right? You never wanna die on the shitter. And I remember thinking like, damn, shrapnel's about to come through this, like this aluminum freaking tin thingy. So I like throw on my vest real quick, my helmet. I don't even think I wiped my ass. And I take off running outside of the door, and you got the maintenance bay right there. This is on our FOB, FOB Paliwoda. And we were QRF, Quick Reaction Force, so it was our job to go to the point of origin, the POO, that was tracked by a satellite that would give us the exact coordinates of where it came from. It would track the trajectory of the round. So we load up, we get in the Humvees. We stop and set up a traffic control checkpoint to try to find the mortarmen. Well, we see a white truck coming in our direction. They see us and they fucking haul ass and do a U-turn. So it's like, hey, jump in, get in the vehicle. There they are. Man, we're chasing this freaking truck, vehicle. We go about 30 miles away from where we're supposed to be. It's like we damn near ended up in Fallujah from what I gathered. I was an E3, E4, so I really didn't like, I wasn't making any fucking decisions. I was driving a Humvee at this time. So we chased them, again, to some village right in front of a house. They parked the truck, it was a white truck, 3 males, military age males jump out, they run through a house. Even though I was the driver of the Humvee, something told me just get out and fucking chase them, right? So I jump out, and instead of us going through the house, we went around the side. And as I'm looking, Sergeant Hendrickson is over there and he's handling one of the dudes, one of the older guys, right? It's him and he's handling him, we'll just say that. So now you see 2 guys running, me, Hinks, and Dino. These dudes are fucking gaining on us, right? We didn't know if they had weapons on them, and they just fucking it was all bad. Bad area, bad people. That was the crazy thing about fucking Iraq, is that, they didn't really wear uniforms. So I asked my sergeant, can we shoot warning shots? So he's like, yeah. So it's like, boom, boom, right? Warning shots get fucking fired. Dudes are still running. It's like, man, these guys are really up to no good. So I see one kind of turning to the left, and then that's when I draw on him and just boom, boom. The dude was like 250 meters away, 300. And when I seen he was running, he skipped the ground with his hand. I'm like, holy fuck, I shot him. So we kept running. I mean, they were a distance. And when we come up to the guy, there's a canal that's empty of water, but there's mud. It's a very muddy canal. And the dude is on his knees like this, soaked in blood. And I remember thinking in my head, God, please let that be mud. Please let that be mud. Right? 'Cause I was hoping it would be mud from what he had just crossed. And the dude was wearing sandals, which caught me off guard. Like, how the hell did he keep his sandals on through that mud, right? You would think it would have got stuck. So we end up coming behind him, and my sergeant yells, hey, you shot him, you search him. So I just kicked him, boom. I kicked him in the back and he fucking falls forward. And now he's in the prone position. And I'm standing over him, because they did teach us how to do EPW searches, enemy prisoner of war searches, in case they have grenades, which is one of the last stands or one last ditch efforts that they'll do, is they'll lay on top of a grenade or just fucking pull the pin and just take everybody out. So he's like, you shot him, you search him. So I go to search him and I put my hands on his back and my fucking hand slipped. He's wearing a man dress, and my hand slipped on the red, slick blood, dark ass blood, and I fell on top of him. And I'm like, ah, right? I looked at my hands, and I just remember thinking, like, damn, I have blood on my hands, right? Like the figure of speech, I have blood on my hands. So by then, another sergeant came who he claimed to be a medic, but he gets here and he starts panicking because the dude's exit wound is here in his neck. Right, again, I'd never seen a gunshot wound. I had never shot anybody up until that point. This is like really happening. So Sergeant Dean tells him, hey, patch him up. You're supposed to be a fucking medic. And he says, hey, let's go. We still have to go and get the other guy. Right, so it was me, and then we were all regrouped. Hendo, Dino, Hinks, and me, and I. And we're running. The other guy disappeared, man. Holy shit, he ran into a fucking village. It was a bad village, dude. It was a really bad village. I mean, you would think because you're in Iraq, it's a hostile area, combat operations like 24/7 everywhere. Some fucking places are more sketchier than others. And just different things that give away, like the way people look at you in their eyes. it's like the hate is radiating from people's like body, souls. And we were seeing a lot of that. Pictures of Saddam Hussein's up on people's walls. That wasn't something we had necessarily encountered in our area of operations. I told you we had driven freaking 30 minutes out of our AO. And I remember clearing a house, and there was an old lady in a wheelchair. And as I come across the room, she just stares at me. She's just in the wheelchair, like, doesn't say nothing to me. I don't say nothing to her. It's almost like if she's used to like people coming in her house with guns. And as I just keep pushing, right? Like, she's not a threat, keep pushing. We start getting like the heebie-jeebies, like, hey, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. We've been here for too long. We're in a bad area. It's just a matter of time before they come down on us. And so we start making our way back to the vehicle. And you had the family members of that individual that I shot were crying. I mean, I assume they were their family members. And then you had the dad, which this is what I found extremely odd. The dad walks up to me and I shake the dad's hand and the dad shakes my hand. So if there was a major event, which there were, they would send the chaplain over to us in our little makeshift barracks. You know, initially it was just a big open bay. Then we somehow got some plywood and made cubicles, 2-man cubicles. But we're learning this as it's happening. The big army will send a chaplain over us and talk to us about what's going on. Of course, we're not gonna openly, you know, pour our heart and soul into this guy. We don't even know him and we're not trying to look weak. So at that time, right, I don't have that same mindset. But, because you got to understand, bro, weakness will get you killed. You got to be fucking hard, stern. I mean, you got to be a killer to survive and adapt in that environment. You can get got at any time.
Like about 5 minutes ago, the Humvee that drives just got hit by an IED. But the other squad was driving it. Pretty fucking scary.
Joe ain't got no fucking grease on his face, specialist.
Dad's man.
Not taking care.
It's PFC, Robert Zimmerman, reporting from Balad, Iraq. As you can see, the weather out back is fucking shitty.
Fucking electric lines and transformers are blowing all over the place.
Oh, fuck.
What is it from fucking sand? It's probably from the sand.
Oh,
A big ass piece of metal.
Oh man, that's nothing. It's a piece of shrapnel that from the bomb that went off right next to my vehicle today.
A bomb?
Yeah, man, a roadside bomb fucking almost blew me up today. Big piece of the metal. Check it out. Check out this little piece.
Damn.
Good shit, huh?
That's a big piece of fucking metal.
Yep. 12th of May.
So how do you feel? How do you feel about that flying past your head?
Nah. Can't really do much about it. We killed somebody though. That's what counts. Hopefully it was a guy. If it wasn't, oh well. Really don't know.
Oh well.
That's about it.
All right, bro.
Stick in the barrel.
Yeah. The first time I met Daclon was in Hohenfels. We actually had a medic prior to him that refused to fire his weapon on one of the live firing ranges, and our platoon sergeant, Sergeant First Class Golik, kicked him out. He's like, hey, get out of here, I don't need you. I need somebody that's gonna fucking fire the weapon. And asked for a replacement, which was Doc Daclon, Edgar. I ended up going to the PX at Hohenfels and buying this big giant Rambo knife, like a gimmick. and it came with a compass. And I was so excited, man, probably like a bargain, probably like 10 bucks. And I was so anxious to open it up that I actually sliced my hand open with that knife. And we were in the billets, you know, little barracks area, and I go up to the medic, Doc, and I'm like, hey, Doc, can you help me out here? And he starts bandaging me up. This is the first time I meet him, and he has that like high-pitched voice, and he's like, hey man, you gotta be careful when you're messing with these knives. And I'm like, I know, man, I know. And he starts like bandaging my hand. And even then, I just remember thinking like, this dude's so caring, like this dude's so passionate about his job. Get in the Humvees, we start driving out the FOB, front gate. Specialist Maldonado, my boy from Puerto Rico, is there, and he's just like looking at us, right? And I'm looking at him, which was weird because like the whole mood was somber. It was just weird right out the gate. Normally he would have been like, hey, what's up, fuckers? But it was just like nothing. We drive to the location where the point of origin is, along the Tigris River. Right before we get to the Poo, there's a T intersection on a hardball street. And I was the third vehicle out of 4 vehicles in the patrol. And we hear over the radio that the last vehicle had broken down about a mile back. Like, what? So the lieutenant in the first vehicle made the decision to send my vehicle back and link up with them. So we're like, all right. So I drive back and I link up with that other vehicle. Now I didn't give it any thought whether they were gonna stay put or continue mission. I mean, I guess I figured they were just gonna stay put till we got back and linked up. What ended up happening is that patrol carried on. And Doc, Edgar Daclon, was like a grunt to us. Even though he was a medic, combat medic, he was a grunt to us because he was always leading, he was always kicking indoors, he was always shooting his weapon with us. So as we're there, with the last vehicle that broke down, we hear like the loudest rumbling forever. Like I never heard anything like this before, followed by gunfire.
Don't get up yet. That rock's the track. That top, huh? Get up.
It took like a fucking half a second. Hey, let's go. They're getting hit. Let's go. So then my wheels start spinning like, oh, they went forward, right? They continued mission. They pushed on and they got hit.
Here we go. Here's the parts.
The Humvee parked right next to the IED. It was a surface leveled IED, meaning it was surface leveled and it was in a mound of dirt. So there was only dirt covering those artillery rounds. And as soon as Doc stepped in front of the Humvee and the insurgent saw him, he detonated the IED, which blew Doc across the road. So I convinced the sergeant, like, hey, let's go, let's go. So we jump in the Humvee, and I know a shortcut to the location. It was through like a dirt road, and I see the Humvee that got hit, and we would come to it like a T. I jump out, and as soon as I jump out, Sergeant Edgar comes around and said, they killed Doc. I'm like, what do you mean they killed Doc? And he's like, he's right over there, look. And like I look past him, and I see a body on the road, and my vision just goes, and my whole world just went dark. And like at that moment, my innocence left me. Like a shift in my innocence. Anything I was ever taught, that good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people, shattered, fucking shattered on the spot. So I run over there, I don't know why, and I look down, and there's a body, and I look at his face, and there's droplets of blood on his face, but he doesn't look like Doc, right? His face is in one piece. There's nothing, his face isn't injured, it just doesn't look like Doc. And then I start going down, scanning his body, and then I get to his right leg, his shin, and his shin bone is exposed, so he took like shrapnel to the shin. Lieutenant Torres took shrapnel on the bottom of his foot, because when I arrived, Lieutenant Torres was sitting on the passenger side of the Humvee holding his foot up like this, cussing, and the bottom of his boot was chewed up, and it looked like his foot looked like ground beef. Then you had O'Neill, who was the gunner at the time of that Humvee. He had his back of his head facing that IED. So when that IED blew, boom, it blew some shrapnel into his Kevlar. We had the old school Kevlars, the ones that came down, not like the new ones. And that saved his life. It punctured his skull, and it wounded him, took him out of the fight. And Hinks was bandaging up O'Neill, and Hinks was bandaging up Lieutenant Torres, which was a fucked up feeling because we never in our wildest dreams anticipated that our medic would get killed. And I'm just like, holy fuck. But then I realized, like, hey, this is an unsecured, like, scene still. We still have to pull security. Like, the insurgents, the bad guys, can still be out in the bushes. So we look down, and they're like, hey, Farrell, there's a fucking vehicle coming down the road. So you have the dead body, you have my Humvee, that Humvee that got hit, the 113, and we're set up in this little position. But it's on a hardball, so you got traffic trying to come, Iraqi civilians trying to come from both sides. So I start shooting warning shots at this car. Doof, doof, doof. Probably had to be an Opel. Everybody drove Opels in. The car turns around and leaves. Well, then I see a white truck coming, and I do the same thing, but the truck keeps coming. Doom, doom, doom. So then I shoot in front of the street, right where that truck is at, doof, 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 with my M16. Truck is still fucking coming. So then I shoot at the engine block, and now this is only 5.56, but I mean, I don't know what else to do, so I'm like, doof, doof, doof. And the fucking truck is still coming. I'm like, I'm gonna have to kill this dude. I'm gonna have to fucking kill this dude, right? Because at that time, they had already started implementing car bombs, VBIDs, vehicle-borne IEDs. I see that there's a driver, but no passenger. So I aim at the passenger side windshield, and just doof, 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 put a couple rounds in there, and the fucking truck kept coming, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to kill this dude. I'm gonna have to fucking kill this dude, right? And it's one of those things, like, I don't know if this is a bad guy. I don't know if he's a car bomber. Is this a risk? By then, the dude is up on us, right? So much time, like, everything's happening so fast. We see that it's an old man. Dude had to have been 80 or 90 years old. Blind, deaf, dumb. So we just break the window, we drag him out, we rough him up a little bit because we're highly upset and young, and we just got, our friend just got killed, and we throw him back in the truck, and he turns around, and I hear Hank say, hey, did you shoot him? And I'm like, no, like pissed. He fucking goes off, and now Weeks shows up. So it's like, hey, let's go follow the wire. Right? Because back then they would have two types of IEDs, command detonated and remote detonated. So command, they would have a copper wire strung out to two 155 artillery rounds, or 1 or 3, however they wanted, with a blasting cap, and then they would string it out, and they would be there watching you with a 9-volt battery. So we follow the wire, and we look right down. It was right on the edge of the Tigris. The dude had a clear line of sight to the Humvee, down the canal, so they would use different markings to hit you. And then when he detonated, he ran into the village, which we would later drop fucking 2 500-pound bombs on that village. After we traced the wire, the dude was nowhere to be found, the insurgent. We go back, and it's time to load the bodies on the medevac, right? So they tell me to pop smoke. I had a red smoke canister. I popped it, and I threw it into the street, but it didn't go where I wanted it to land. So I go to pick it up, and I burned the shit out of my hand. Like, I didn't realize it was gonna be burning so hot. So I just dropped it. By then, pretty much all the reinforcements, all the big wigs, everybody came from the FOB. We weren't that far from our FOB. As a matter of fact, my friends on the FOB that heard the explosion, which was like 2 miles away or 3 miles away, it was so loud that they thought it was incoming on the FOB. I'm telling you, that IED was just fucking weird, different. I'm standing in the middle of this empty field in shock. Sergeant First Class Joselito Villanueva gets me and pushes me down. He's like, hey, you're doing good, Farrell, you're doing good, take a knee. At the same time, the medevac was landing. You know, I didn't realize that I was standing straight up. And he's like, hey, you're doing good. Like, I don't know if he noticed I was in shock. And we get up afterwards, and then we start loading the bodies onto the Stokes litters and onto the helicopter. And I remember the helicopter pilot looking at me and just me looking at him, kind of like, you know, like, thank you, and like, take care of them. But we had 1 KIA, 2 wounded in action. Yeah, and those guys left and never came back. Doc's death hit the platoon fucking hard, man. It hit the platoon hard because of who he was, right? I'm not saying had it been anybody else, we wouldn't have been dealt the same emotions, but because it was him, it fucking sucked that much more. On top of that, September 10th happens to be my mom's birthday, which makes it the worst day of my life because I had to come back to the FOB, call my mom and tell her happy birthday, and keep all those feelings inside. I didn't want to ruin her birthday. It was usually like this. 2 guys in a cubicle, quiet. You know, when Doc got killed, it was me and my best man sitting right across exactly like we are right now. He's crying, I'm crying, and he wanted to know what happened. And I told him exactly how it happened. And he's just like, fuck, man. It's almost like the facial expressions couldn't hide it. It's moments of just sad, extreme sorrow, reflecting back, what could we have done? Why couldn't we get killed? Survivor's guilt, bouncing stories off of each other, and then, hey, guess what? Suit up, put your shit on, we're going out again. You know, looking around the room and seeing everybody's face, it's like that little kid trying to hold their lip in, right, from crying. I was crying, other dudes were crying, but it's the group mentality as a whole. It's like, A, we don't want to show weakness, B, we can't afford to show weakness, C, we got to continue mission. But like I said, those glimpses, right, those glimpses of complete sheer terror, bewilderment, excitement, joy, right? Blowing up a freaking house, blowing up a car, and it's like a little kid with some fireworks and a little G.I. Joe doll. Boom, right? It's like during those glimpses, you can catch like, hey, you know, we're still kids. But I'll tell you one thing, man, 13 months of that, 18 months of that, 15 months of that, multiple deployments, you do lose your innocence fucking fast. February 2005. The lieutenant colonel pulled us into an airplane hangar in Germany. He said these 3 things. Don't drink and drive, don't beat your wife, and if you hear loud sounds, you may flinch. Have a good day. Boom. Coming back home, bro, to San Diego, to El Centro, to Brawley, I felt like a fucking alien, dude. Like an absolute fucking alien. My parents didn't understand what was happening to me. My sister didn't understand what I had just went through. My friends knew that I was turned up and that I was drinking the most and doing the most and acting bizarre, wild, and unusual, but they enjoyed that shit. I was the life of the fucking party. And that's where it was a double-edged sword.
Hit him! Look! Declan! Declan! Help! What? Back up, get away! Get away!
So in April of 2004, yeah, I shot a dude, right? The dude was bleeding out. We fucking ran up to the scene. The dude was bleeding out, man. The exit wound was coming out of his neck. And while he didn't die then and there, you know, my sergeant would later on tell me, like, yeah, that dude fucking didn't make it. That happened in April. I got R&R, rest and relaxation, in August. I was already kind of fighting that in my mind. Like, am I gonna go to hell? I grew up with a religious background, Catholic, so I'm like, I know the 10 Commandments. Well, I surprised my parents when I came back in August for R&R, and they threw me a on the whim block party with all the neighbors. Well, I remember getting drunk and crying and saying I'm a murderer, I killed somebody, and like, fuck, man, you could just imagine the neighbors looking at me. This was in 2004. I didn't plan that. You know, once the alcohol started flowing, that's kind of just what came out. And everything had always been inside of me, right? In my thoughts, in my gut, and in my heart. But when I drank, shit came out in a very unhealthy, very ugly way. I wrestled with that, tackled with that, thought, memory, idea, action for a long, long time, man. And that just goes hand in hand with every other trauma that I experienced throughout the duration of the war. My war.
You guys are fucking stupid. You need your little AK-47 now, dude. The whole year of 2005, I was definitely drunk,
and the majority of times under the influence of a controlled substance. Marijuana, cocaine, meth, and those were the three. And to be honest with you, this is what it looked like. Wake up at nighttime, start drinking, okay? Start dabbling in some coke. That's the word I was looking for, dabbling, because I wanted to get up. It didn't put me up where I wanted to, so I would smoke some meth or snort some meth, and it would put me 2 up. So then I'd kind of panic and smoke some weed to bring me down, and then I would just fucking continue that roller coaster from hell for the whole 2005. September 10th, the anniversary of my friend getting killed, still came around all those years, and that's a trigger for me, and I had to learn about triggers. I had post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, I still have post-traumatic stress disorder, but I didn't know what the hell that was. I literally thought I was losing my fucking mind, bro. The word anxiety. If I tell you the word anxiety, people know the symptoms. Oh, anxiety, rapid heart increase, nervousness. Not only did I not know the fucking word anxiety, I didn't know the symptoms. I thought I was fucking losing my mind and having a heart attack simultaneously. Add in dope and everything else. Oh, bro, you could just imagine. And then when you go through prolonged periods of fight or flight scenarios, your brain gets rewired. And this is something I learned after the fact through therapy and treatment. So sending those neurons and everything else and your brain remembering survival things, the problem is you get in an argument with your girlfriend, you go straight to fucking full combat mode, right? She's thinking you're a fucking abusive son of a bitch from hell, right? Verbally abusive, physically abusive, and a drunk. You look like a fucking piece of shit asshole is what you look like, but what's really happening is you're suffering, right? It's not an excuse at all, right? You gotta be held accountable. I gotta be accountable for my actions. However, that it was an ugly fucking mess. I was the king of self-sabotage, the absolute king of self-sabotage. I was a manipulator, right? And that comes with being an alcoholic. The traits of alcoholism. I knew something wasn't right, bro. I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy. You know, you hear people say they look in the mirror, they don't like the person that they see. Well, I mean, I would look in the mirror. I didn't think I was fucking, bad looking, but I didn't like the person that was inside of me. And that person inside of me came out when I drank. There was no forethought though. There was no knowledge of what scientifically was happening to me or what I was enduring, if that makes sense. Like medical terminologies, mental health terminologies, symptoms. It looked fucking, and I remember telling my parents one time, like, hey, if this shit looks ugly to you guys, just imagine what the fuck it looks like inside of me. Because yeah, dude, the thoughts, oh my God, bro. And I haven't reflected back to that, how it was that bad in ages, but it was bad, dude. In 2010, I would hit my bottom, bro. I'd hit my bottom. I had a fiance at a time. I totaled my truck. I totaled my Toyota Tundra. I bought that Toyota Tundra in 2005 as a gift to myself coming back from Iraq as a trophy. Fucking totaled it. And I was upset that I didn't die in the accident. That's how bad I was. My dad said, I'm gonna drop your fucking ass off at the VA in La Jolla. You're not gonna call us anymore. You're not gonna talk to us anymore. You're not my son. You're their problem. You're not our problem anymore. Boom. Thank God he didn't just drop me off and leave. He actually waited right there as I checked myself into the emergency room of the VA, and I told him, hey, I need help. There was a female working behind the counter at the emergency room. I said, I need help. She's like, well, what's wrong? I said, I don't know. Every time I drink, something bad happens. She's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. I have these thoughts. I can't. She's like, all right, have a seat. She was very nice. We're going to get you processed through the room. And then that's when my journey began, bro, in 2010 of inpatient rehab. Started off with a trip to the psych ward, 2 South in La Jolla, voluntarily. They kind of duped me into going up there. They said I was going to get some help. There was no help up there, bro. It was a fucking locked psych ward. I did go to my first AA meeting up there, which it's been on and cracking ever since, and I just hit 13 years of sobriety. So That's what that looked like, man. It got worse before it got better. Their death, like, hung over me like a fucking black cloud from hell, dude. And I blamed all my drinking, my drug usage, on all this and all of that, man. And the bottom line is I refused to accept their death. That's the bottom line. I was at a VA hospital. Like I said, dude, all this fucking treatment came from the VA hospital. And the doctor's like, you need to accept Doc's death. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's not gonna happen. I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm never going to accept Doc's death. And he said, Hector, accepting something doesn't mean that you agree with it. It simply means that you accept that it happened. And I'm like, oh, the light bulb went off. And that's exactly what did it for me. That's what it was, dude. That was the turning moment in accepting. Once I was able to accept his death, oh, dude, it felt like 1,000,000 pounds lifted off of me, right? I wasn't holding on to that. And yeah, you best believe I don't agree with it, but now I can accept that it did happen. They got killed doing what they enjoyed doing. And I know they enjoyed it because we were, shoulder to shoulder, kicking indoors together, laughing, joking, eating, smoking. It's more than just losing a friend. It's more than just losing a brother. It's what it is actually the world got a valuable asset taken from them. Everybody went their separate ways. My buddy Mays ended up going to NTC, Fort Irwin in California. The majority of the guys stayed in. They got stop lossed. I got out. I did a 3-year contract. I got in and I got out, right? It was kind of a perfect thing. Train, deploy for 13 months, and then, I went from Iraq to home, dude. That's kind of a problem. And they got stop loss and went back to Baghdad for 18 months. So not only am I home, I'm still losing brothers from my platoon overseas, dude. So like, I'm home and I'm getting calls that, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? Did you hear about Ellen? I'm like, no, don't tell me. Yeah, he got fucking killed. It was with the 10th Mountain, because he ended up PCSing with the 10th Mountain. One that hit me hard was Staff Sergeant Hector Leha. Called him Big Hector. He called me Little Hector. He got shot in the head by a sniper in Haifa Street. That came out on the news. That whole scene came out of the news. This is somebody that was my mentor, one of my leaders in my platoon that took me under his wing when I got into Germany. So I'm like hurting, bro, like extremely hurting, and all this is happening. So some of my friends continued war and died. King went back to Philadelphia. He killed himself a couple years ago, right after Memorial Day or right before Memorial Day. I recently got asked to speak at my high school. Brawley Union High School for Veterans Day. You know, one of my buddies from my hometown, he joined the Army infantry. He went to Iraq. He deployed to Afghanistan. He's a teacher now. So he tells me I'm gonna be the guest speaker or speak, and that there's gonna be other veterans there in attendance. So I get there, and as soon as I see my buddy Jay, right? Jay has a sister my age, and it's a small town, so everybody knows each other. And me and him both came back in 2005. He was a Marine. He was in Fallujah. I was in the Army. I was in Balad. We both came back to that hometown, and we were both suffering and hurting the exact identical same way. And I remember him at his low, and I'm pretty damn sure he remembers me at my low. And when I seen him at that like 2 weeks ago, my eyes lit up like, oh shit, Jay, what's up? It's like, oh. And I said, we made it, bro. We made it. Five or six of them ended up relocating to the Phoenix, Arizona area. I have made annual trips out to Arizona, out to the Phoenix area, where we will just chop it up like brothers, bro, and reminisce. And I took my daughter. My daughter was 4 or 5, so I introduced her to like, hey, these are your uncles, right? So that's, you know, we're growing. One of my brothers, Hinks, he just came to San Diego and brought his daughter. His daughter's the same age as mine, and we were so happy to like they can play. And then you talk about when we were young, and it's like we both were thinking the same thing. Like, damn, bro, look at us, look at what we went through together, young, and now look, dude, we're grown men, fathers, and look at our daughters together. You can't put a price on that. You know, it's unexplainable.
In Balad, Iraq, where we had just discovered an IED, improvised explosive device, ahead of checkpoint 10. We're here with Jared Hinks. Take it away.
That's right, Farrell. Here in Balad, Iraq, on Route Linda, where two Hajis, excuse me, indigenous personnel,
Iraqi members,
Iraqis, came to the front gate while we were leaving and told us they knew where a bomb was. Sergeant Cohen, being the man that he is, said he didn't care. He wanted to continue mission. But being the men we are, we said, let's be heroes. Let's go get them. So here we are now.
The bomb is down there.
Waiting for EOD. The wait is undescribable. Usually it pertains to about 4 to 8 hour wait for EOD. They have to do certain things to prepare themselves to blow up these roadside bombs.
With a chance
like
of ambush.
Getting out of bed, shutting off the PlayStation, taking a shower, lacing up their tennis shoes, putting on mom's favorite underwear, and then coming to blow the bomb up with a robot. Strenuous job. Oh, if you look to the right, there's cars that we are diverting traffic off the road onto the canal road.
Canal road being that road right there. If I had it my way, I'd be able to send those cars right to the bomb and blow it myself.
Fucking right.
There you got some well-hygiened and groomed Iraqi children. They are not dirty, dusty, or stinky whatsoever. This is a nice home that you'd most likely see in Beverly Hills, California. You see, you got the smoke trail.
And they got chickens and cows running through their living room. Fires burning in the yard.
Well, I did see this kid crap in the living room floor once.
Look at Sergeant Acosta, work his magic. Do it again, Sergeant Acosta, please, for the camera. Look at his weapon, different than ours. Why? Because that bad boy will spit 30 rounds out in 1 second.
You want to see a 1,000 yards there?
Oh, come on, I'm nearly coming, come on! Don't make me lose that feeling, come on! 5 more. 42, 43, 44, 45, 48, 49, 48, 48, 49! Oh,
That there was a monkey fucker.
That'll teach you next time to never play cards with me, boy. That's just from cleaning up.
Hear ye! We are gathered here today for our little Richard Freddie Hill. Cute! Who's not so little anymore. It's his 23rd birthday today. The 30th of June, 2004. Yay!
Cut it! Cut that motherfucker.
Richard Hill, do the honors. Big guy, big nuts. Hold on, not yet. Hey, Sergeant Stewart, welcome to Richard Hill's 23rd birthday party, where he cuts the watermelon. Begin. Cut it, big guy.
Just to get it over with.
Cut it.
So y'all fucking leave
No, don't cut it long ways, man.
You got a birthday cake? You gonna have a birthday watermelon?
It's a birthday. Cut it, Richie, like you would a man.
Yeah. Like you're starting right as start up.
Yeah, big guy. 23 years old, biggest fucking nuts in the platoon.
Feel so hard they eat the boogers out of a dead man in after seconds.
Yeah, there you go. Oh! This is our new room. My roommate Weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the friend I was telling you about that kind of shot that off in here. What do you have to say about that incident, Weeks?
Hold on.
About that day. Man.
Little reenactment.
Where'd you get that flashlight? Did you order it offline? Because that's fucking high speed how you got it all hooked up.
Isn't it? Shit, you probably safe.